Hola, buenos días, año 7. ¿Qué tal? Hello, year 7. Here is your do now for today's lesson. Read this conversation out loud on your own. Can you remember how to pronounce each word and what they all mean? Can you work out what's new, what we haven't covered before, and what might be learning this lesson? Okay, so the conversation should read something like this. Hola, buenos días. ¿Cómo te llamas? Me llamo Pablo. ¿Y tú? Me llamo María. ¿Qué tal, Pablo? Bien, gracias. ¿Y tú? Estupendo. Hasta luego, Pablo. Adiós. Now then, did you work out what the new bit was? Hopefully you got that it was ¿qué tal? And ¿qué tal? And the answer was bien here and estupendo. So what do you think that means if someone says ¿qué tal? And the answer is bien? Well done if you got it. It means how are you? So today we're going to learn how to ask someone how they are and how to understand their response and how to reply if someone asks you that question. Ahora, vamos a escribir la fecha y el título para hoy. Entonces, el título es ¿qué tal? ¿Qué tal? As you can see, is our title for today, which means how are you? So can you write today's date and then underneath the title and then in brackets underneath our title, can you write what it means in English, please? So it means how are you? Okay, now you've done that, let's practice our words for today. So let's practice first of all, how to ask the question. So repite. ¿Qué tal? ¿Qué tal? Okay, or we can say, ¿Cómo estás? Repite. ¿Cómo estás? You can say either ¿Qué tal? Or ¿Cómo estás? They both mean exactly the same thing. Okay, let's practice these new words. So both thumbs up. If we're feeling fantastic today, we would say estupendo. Repite, estupendo. We're feeling good, we'll say bien. Bien. If we're feeling okay, we'll have our thumb horizontal and we'll say regular. Regular. Remember that R is not an English R, it's not regular, it's regular. So we're going to try and roll those R's. Regular. Have a go. Regular. Then we've got mal, if we're not feeling very good today. Mal, I'm feeling bad today. Or I'm feeling absolutely awful, terrible would be fatal. Repite, fatal. So let's practice those words again. Fatal, mal, regular, bien, estupendo. Feel free to rewind this section and play it again for some more practice. Ahora vamos a escribir los vocabularios. So, with a ruler, draw a line on your sheet of paper and then see if you can put the feeling words in the correct order. So, which one means great down to which one means terrible. So, get your line with a smiley face at one end and a sad face at the other, and then see if you can put the words in with the English on your line, please. If you finish early, have a go at the activity with the star where you cover up your work and see if you can work out those feeling words. Okay, las respuestas. So we should have these as your answers for this in your exercise, in your piece of paper. So we should have estupendo, then we should have bien, then regular, then mal, then fatal. Just as I'm going through this, check your spellings carefully. Cover up if you did this one and you covered up your work and you were unscrambling the feelings, you would find that número uno is regular, número dos is mal, número tres estupendo, and número cuatro fatal, and número cinco bien. Well done if you got those. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our conversation. So as you can see, this one is not finished. So you're now going to do some speaking practice with the person next to you. Vamos a hablar. Okay, you're going to ask the question of each other. You're going to change the names of your names, and you're going to decide how you're feeling today in your conversation. So see if you can do that a few times with the person next to you, still facing the front though, and see if you can use less and less of the board so you can start remembering how to say each of those phrases. Okay, ahora vamos a escribir. So now we're going to write down this conversation. So in your exercise books, I want you to start writing out this conversation between you and the person next to you, or if you prefer, a person of your choice. So you're going to write out how a conversation would look in your exercise, on your sheet, on your piece of paper, a conversation between you and somebody else, where you're going to make sure that there's a greeting for each of you, that you ask each other's names, and that you ask how that person is. Okay. This will probably take you about, 5 minutes. Okay, now you've finished your conversation. Check your work. Let's look at these checks to make sure that our work is perfect. So, número uno, does the conversation make sense? Reread it and check. Are the words in the right order? Are the lines in the right order for the conversation to make sense? Number two, does each person give a greeting? Does each person give their name and say how they are? Just check you've got each bit of information in there. Have you used y tú? It's a good way of avoiding having to rewrite the question again. Y tú, and you. Number four, have you remembered the upside down question mark? Number five, have you remembered the upside down exclamation mark? Number six, have you checked your spellings? Number seven, have you remembered all your accents? Just take a few moments to go through each of those now on your work and check that everything is correct. Ok, terminado. Excelente. Ahora vamos a aprender los números. So now we're going to learn some numbers, and we're going to learn numbers 1 to 10. I'm going to go through them once with you and get you to practice repeating each number. And then when we've gone through them all once, I suggest we rewind the video and do it one more time just for some extra practice. So repite. Uno. And it might be helpful if we count on our fingers at the same time as we're learning these numbers. Uno, dos, tres. Uno, dos, tres. Cuatro, cuatro. Tres, dos, uno. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. Cinco, cinco. Seis, cinco, seis. Siete, siete. Cinco, seis, siete. Ocho, ocho. Siete, ocho. Nueve, nueve, nueve. 10, 10. Otra vez. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you need to, rewind and have another go at those now. Ahora vamos a escribir. Vamos a escribir. Before we write them down, let's just have a look at some of the pronunciation rules I want to point out. So with cinco, we're going to say th rather than cinco. You'll notice that CI is a th sound in Spanish if we speak Spanish that's from Spain. If you speak South American Spanish, we can say cinco, but you'll notice that my Spanish is from Spain, so I will say cinco. Cinco. Nueve, that V here is not a V in Spanish, not a V sound, it's more of a B sound. It's a subtle B sound, and it's nueve, nueve. It's not a V as in how we pronounce V in English, okay? Nueve, nueve. And then finally, the Z on the end of diez is a th sound as well, rather than a Z. So diez. So things to remember. Okay, vamos a escribir. Get those written down nice and neatly, please, in your books. Sorry, on your sheet, and sur el papel. And now we're going to practice those numbers. Vamos a hacer un poco de matemáticas. So we've got más, plus, menos, minus, and we use the word son for equals. So número uno, dos, más dos, son cuatro. So for your answer for number one, you will write number one in your book and the word cuatro. So I want you to write the number out as a word, please, to practice. So dos más dos, cuatro. So number one, cuatro. See if you can write those down, the answers down on your paper now. Okay, vamos a hacer las respuestas ahora. Número uno we've done. Number one was cuatro. Number two was cinco. Cinco. Number three is diez. Diez. Number four is cuatro. Number five is seis. Number six is siete. Number seven is cero or zero, and we would write that C-E-R-O. So don't worry if you just got a zero there. That's absolutely fine. Ocho, number 8 is ocho. Number 9 is ocho again, ocho. And number 10 is nueve, nueve. Play those again if you need to. Okay, now we're going to play some games to practice those numbers 1 to 10. This game is a team game. We need 2 teams. The class is split into 2 teams. We have 2 children come to the front, 1 for the red team, 1 for the purple team, and the teacher or someone in the class must say a number in Spanish. The first person to point to the correct number on their board wins the point for their team. Suerte, good luck. The next game we're going to play is bingo or loteria. So you need to create a small grid, very small, on your sheet of paper with 4 numbers written in digits, like my example here, between the numbers 1 to 10. Your teacher will then say some numbers in Spanish between 1 and 10, and you must cross them out when you hear the numbers on your grid. When you have crossed out all 4 numbers on your grid, you put your hand up and shout, Loteria! And that means you've won. And if you're lucky, you might get a merit. And finally, the final activity is my challenges today. So can you count from 1 to 10 with no help? Quite quickly. Can you count backwards from 10 to 1? Can you count in 2s up to 10? How many numbers end in O in Spanish from 1 to 10? And how many numbers can you translate correctly into Spanish if your partner fires them at you in English. Okay, spend a few moments now seeing if you can do my challenges. Okay, adios, año 7. Muy bien. Bien trabajo hoy. Well done. Good work today. Next lesson, we'll be recapping on these numbers today. We'll be learning some more numbers and hopefully moving on to being able to ask someone their age. Adios.